Making that leap to stay in Beijing is easier than you think, with more excitement than you'd ever imagine. Enjoy 72-hour visa-free transit and new tax refunds on shopping for overseas travelers. Discover Beijing living like a local, Saturday night, August 15th at 7.
The brilliant city of Beijing. Home of wonders which draw people from around the world. But it is also home to residents who respect and maintain their culture, who live and shop amongst the city's bustling alleyways, who use healing methods with origins thousands of years old, who vacation in spectacular northern villages that lie in the shadow of the Great Wall, and who welcome visitors to take the road less traveled in Beijing and live like a local. The people of Beijing take great pride in their city for its historical, cultural, and political importance. They even celebrated their remarkable city during the 2014 Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City. Their ornate float was featured on the news, impressing kids during Media Day.
I like the texture that they have. I like the colors.
And 3.5 million other Americans as it made its way down 6th Avenue, adorned in replicas of attractions that make Beijing a beacon for tourists from around the world. But Beijing visitors are also encouraged to stray from the major tourist attractions and spend time in the city, living like a local.
If you slow your pace in Beijing, you will find a lot to learn. If you just take a sightseeing tour in Beijing, you can only see the surface of the buildings. If you slow down, you can experience the culture and history of Beijing.
Good job, good job. 好的, 好的.
Harvard student Zena Edo-Samwan is coaching an interim basketball program in Beijing.
Being here in China, I've really been able to experience life as a local, and I truly enjoy it and love it. The language barrier actually hasn't been too bad. Sometimes I surprise them when I start speaking Chinese. Yeah, and I kind of see that smile light up, by me asking them questions in the language, and even if I'm wrong, they teach me, and that's how I connect with them more.
Beijingers go to great lengths to maintain their culture, and visitors can experience it all over the city.
大家知道，我们世界文化遗产里面，
There are 7 World Cultural Heritage Sites in Beijing. It is quite rare for any tourism city in the world. For example, the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, the Summer Palace, and the Temple of Heaven. Over the past 100 years, Beijing has always maintained its history and has made sure that it has been well preserved.
One protected area is the Tanja Temple. Situated in Beijing's western hills, it was the first temple built after the introduction of Buddhism to eastern China 1,700 years ago.
先有潭柘寺，后有幽州城。
There is a saying, Tanja Temple came into being first, then Beijing city established.
Built under the principles of feng shui, every ornate detail of the Tanja Temple has a meaning. The animals lining the roof represent levels of honor, while the water dragons keep fires away. Outside of the temple sits the emperor's tree, a treasure over 1,000 years old. It is said that this tree grows a new branch when an emperor is appointed and loses limbs when one dies. Emperors from each dynasty have visited the Tanja Temple to pray, and in the time since, it has drawn both locals and visitors from around the world to circle a large gold prayer cylinder containing 23 tons of Buddhist scriptures. It is said that one trip around the structure is equivalent to reading the entire scripture and brings good luck and prosperity to those who accomplish the task. Nearby, you'll find the Dingduga Temple, 700 meters up the mountain. The pavilion itself was built to commemorate naming Beijing as the capital city of China, because it was decided at that very location. The emperor was told to look where the sun rises, turning him toward Beijing and China's new capital. But perhaps equally important to current visitors are the breathtaking panoramic views of the mountains and the city below.
北京呢是一个有3000多年建城史的。
Beijing has a history of over 3,000 years as a developed city and has been the capital of China for over 860 years. When you visit these places, you will feel the history and the natural beauty of Beijing.
In addition to protected sites, China is home to many protected arts. Arts like mask painting, shadow puppet making, calligraphy, and clay carving are all on UNESCO's Intangible World Cultural Heritage List.
因为雕漆它已经有1400年的历史。
This technique has lasted for 1,400 years. In the old times, it was used by royals. But after the 1980s, more people have started to learn it, and it's very important to keep the tradition alive.
Since the economic reform of the 1980s, these traditional skills have become a vital attraction for locals and tourists alike. And students have even begun learning these arts in schools, as they can now become lucrative and long-term professions with respected masters, like Xu Yang, who has been paper cutting for 40 years.
A lot of foreigners from America, Japan, Russia, and Korea all come here to buy my designs.
Including celebrity clients like Hillary Clinton.
The designs that I do are custom. Each one is made special for the customers.
Paper cutting, or jianzi, is the most popular form of these folk arts, as the process can be completed relatively quickly as compared to other arts, such as snuff bottle painting. An art form that originated nearly 2,000 years ago, this process involves using a specialized paintbrush to go through the neck of a small bottle to paint it from the inside. The artist must essentially paint their design backwards, and concentration is key. So most designs take from a week to up to a month or more to complete. Once finished, some of these works are sold, and others are preserved and put on display. The earliest examples of traditional folk designs can be seen on display all over Beijing.
这里顺便给大家介绍一下，我们北京呢现在也
Beijing is actually the capital of museums. There are over 170 registered museums here. With other private museums, Beijing has the second most museums in the world.
If you really want to enjoy the Beijing's culture, go to the Capital Museum, the first choice. They have the history over 3,000 years of Beijing.
The Capitol Museum was established in 1981 and relocated to its present building in 2006. Upon entering, visitors are greeted by the Jinda Archway, which used to stand guard outside the temple of ancient monarchs in the 1500s. This is just a taste of the museum's large collection of artifacts from Imperial China, many of which were unearthed in Beijing. There are entire rooms dedicated to specific cultural practices where you can learn about old spring festivals, children's folk toys, and even dress and traditions from the arranged marriages of China's past.
从远古时期到北京原
From the ancient times to the Qing dynasty, you can see how Beijing was developed.
Take another step off the beaten path, and visitors will find that the locals were around way before the imperial era. In 1921, the discovery of bones from the 500,000-year-old Peking man, or the missing link in Beijing, created a worldwide sensation. And today, it's the home of the Peking Man Site Museum.
It attracts visitors from all over the world. Inside the museum, they will see the fossils materials belong to the Peking man, the human species, as well as some animals' fossils materials. It's amazing and fantastic.
Coming up, where the Beijing locals live, shop, and work.
The hutongs, where you can smell and hear and touch the Beijing culture.
Beijing's remarkable history dates back over 3,000 years. And while some modern locals live amongst the skyscrapers, to truly get a feel for the local culture, you have to visit the city's alleyways, where you'll find ancient villages called hutongs, filled with pedicab riders and bicyclers.
The old hutongs are still there. All in all, The juxtaposition of old and new is absolutely exciting.
The entrances of the hutongs are usually marked by intricate archways and give visitors a glimpse into Beijing's past.
That is where you see the tradition, where you see the culture, and you see the way people used to live before.
These hutongs aren't roped off like some museum. Many people still call them home, and a few families have lived for generations upon generations, spanning centuries in courtyard-style homes called Siheyuan that you can't find anywhere else in the world.
The hutong are where you can smell and hear and touch the Beijing culture.
While Beijingers are very friendly and would most likely welcome you into their homes, an easier way to experience this culture would be to stay at the Red Wall Garden Hotel.
The service style that we offer is traditional Chinese. We are, by all accounts, a traditional Chinese home. It was a courtyard home, it was a functioning home where we had families actually living, and we've always kept the culture.
I've always loved the boutique hotels, and I thought if you're going to stay somewhere, stay in a place that is representative of the area, and it's charming.
Guests live exactly the way that they probably would have lived with a few modifications some years back.
Locals can also utilize the hutongs for their retail therapy, as most are packed with stores and restaurants. The most well-known shopping hutong is Nanhua Guxiang, located in the center of Beijing.
There's lots of young people doing interesting bars and cafes and studios and t-shirt shops and all sorts of stuff.
And while shopping the hutongs, make sure to visit one of the many street vendors to sample local delicacies like dumplings, a potato tornado, or fried scorpion.
Beijing street food is one of my favorite things. I have tried scorpions before. They would come on these little skewers. Once you do it, you realize it's not a big deal at all, and you can tell your friends, hey, I ate a scorpion when I visited Beijing.
You can live as a local and enjoy local delicacies. That's the beauty of Beijing.
The hutongs are another good place to check out the local folk culture, as some street vendors still practice an art started during the Song Dynasty called sugar blowing in these alleyways today. First, the artist kneads hot liquid sugar into a ball and then blows air, sometimes with the help of an assistant, through a thin straw to slowly inflate the sugar while pinching and pulling at it to produce three-dimensional figurines, most often resembling animals. But that's just a taste of the local culture. Visitors who come at the right time of year are welcome to experience the ultimate in Chinese folk traditions.
Each country or nation has its most important festivals, and to China, it is the Spring Festival.
The Spring Festival, or Chinese New Year, begins on the first day of the first lunar month in the Chinese calendar, which usually falls in January or February.
During the holiday week, from the first lunar day to the 7th day, each day has its own celebration. Many foreign visitors choose to visit Beijing in the winter, where they will stay in a Beijing residence home to celebrate the Spring Festival with them by making dumplings and doing all the cultural events.
Dumplings are served because they are thought to bring good luck, and locals adorn their doorways with woodblock prints known as New Year pictures to say goodbye to the past and welcome the future. Up next,
We couldn't believe what we were seeing. We couldn't believe that it worked, and it did.
healing techniques used by Beijing locals for thousands of years. Today, more than ever, Beijing locals are into living a healthy lifestyle. But the Chinese people have always looked after their own well-being. China was one of the first countries to have a medical culture, going back some 5,000 years. Many of these ancient medicinal techniques are still seen in modern medicine today, and every visitor can access them.
所以如果有机会到北京来，
If you have a chance to come to Beijing at a certain time of year, you can participate in a tour about how we maintain good health. We can specially tailor these tours for each visitor, recommend different promotions, and we hope that each visitor will love Beijing.
Traditional Chinese medicine is very good, it's useful, right? But some people, they don't understand the principle of Chinese medicine.
One of those basic principles is that the human body's health and well-being depends on the balance of yin and yang. Yin is the inner and negative principles, and yang, outer and positive. The Chinese believe that sickness or problems occur when the two aspects lose their harmony or balance. They keep this balance through a combination of a proper diet, exercise, and traditional Chinese medicine. And Beijing welcomes medical professionals from around the world to see what these techniques can do.
We took a lot of doctors to China. We went and saw the various shops that sell traditional medicines. And it was amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, we couldn't believe what we were seeing. We couldn't believe that it worked. And it did.
There are several traditional Chinese medicinal treatments, each of which uses natural therapy to heal ailments. The two most familiar in the States are massage, which works out the aches in your muscles and eases tension or anxiety, and acupuncture.
Acupuncture is a very important part of Chinese medicine. It has been proven to cure more than 400 diseases.
Acupuncture has a 4,000-year-old history and is the process of inserting thin needles into special points in the body to adjust the flow of energy. It's been known to help with headaches, stomach aches, and joint pain, and in some cases can even treat insomnia, infertility, and allergies.
Now, we trust it. We understand what acupuncture can do.
Moxibustion is similar to acupuncture, but instead of needles, the doctor heats a moxa stick made from the healing herb mugwort. Sometimes the stick is placed directly on an acupuncture point to burn out disease. Other times, it is placed into a moxibustion box, and the patient will experience a pleasant heating sensation to help treat the common cold and even menstrual cramps. Cupping is a newer treatment that improves blood circulation by stimulating various acupuncture points. The practitioner heats a glass cup with an open flame and then quickly places the cup over the patient's skin, which creates a suction effect that leaves circular discoloration.
This woman, we can see it's red. Different kinds of color indicates different kinds of problems.
Even though the skin markings look painful, when done by well-trained professionals, cupping is generally a painless procedure used to treat blood disorders, arthritis, and skin problems such as acne. But the very oldest and most common form of medicine still in Beijing today is herbal therapy.
Herbals is one of most important kind of treatment in traditional Chinese medicine. In ancient China, people use many kind of herbals to treat their disease.
Much like in Western medicine, doctors prescribe these herbs in over 13,000 combinations to help treat any number of illnesses. But the ingredients are all natural, and patients drink the herbs rather than swallow them in pill form. And there are hundreds of pharmacies spread all over Beijing where locals can pick up their prescriptions, like Tong Ren Tong. Founded in Beijing's Dashur Lan Hutong in 1669, it provided medicines to the royal pharmacy of the Imperial Palace for 188 years, and now its stores can be found all over the world. But if you want to pair healing with some R&R, check out one of Beijing's many natural hot springs that have been turned into resorts and public baths. The locals carry around membership cards, but visitors can schedule an appointment anytime. The Chinese believe the naturally hot water in the springs contains minerals that have healing powers.
It's good for your health.
When it comes to eating like a healthy local, it's hard to beat Fangshan, Beijing's oldest imperial restaurant. In 1925, Beihai Park, which was once the garden for the imperial family, was opened to the public, and the royal cooks started Fangshan as a tea house on the garden's north shore. And today, the restaurant continues to serve Qing Dynasty imperial cuisine.
Being able to have like authentic Chinese food in China has been a great experience. Eating with chopsticks, no spoons.
Fangshan's dining room is all about authentic imperial luxury. Even the waiters and waitresses are dressed in Qing court attire. If you're looking to exercise like the locals, jump on a bike.
Beijing, to me, it's always been one of the best bicycle cities known to man.
I ride my bike a lot here, but at first I thought, oh my God, in New York, when I see people riding bikes, it looks like the scariest thing ever. But here, the bike lanes are huge. It's like an entire road for a bike on the side of an actual road. It's so easy.
And the city's terrain makes it even easier. Even though mountains surround Beijing on 3 sides, the city is known for its flatness. There are only 3 hills within the city limits.
The city's doing a lot to promote bicycle growth here. They have an ever-expanding bicycle rental system. So every new road that gets built, even all the way out to the mountains, has a bicycle lane there. So there's space for cyclists in the city.
Everybody rides their bike, and it's so convenient, so easy, and I'm so glad I got my bike.
Coming up, the Great Wall, and a village that transports you back in time.
The wall is an attraction, but this year is an added bonus.
Beijing is one of the world's fastest rising cosmopolitan cities, and modern locals have to hustle to keep up with this fast-paced lifestyle. So where do they go when they want to get away from the city? They head to Gubei Watertown, a captivating location that takes visitors back in time with the northern architectural style of the late Qing Dynasty, and sits in the shadow of the Simatai section of the Great Wall.
The wall is an attraction, but this year is an added bonus. Yeah, it's like a museum.
Watertown provides a unique combination for locals and visitors alike, with access to the Great Wall, mountain views, and rebuilt ancient villages containing spectacular courtyards and winding alleyways, all surrounding the beautiful Yuanyang Mandarin Duck Lake.
The resort combines culture, history, and nature perfectly.
Aside from taking in the sights, boating the canals, and relaxing in boutique or 5-star accommodations, visitors are also given the opportunity to participate in many unique local customs.
Like kite making, lantern making, and can draw pictures for Chinese New Year.
And the town lights up spectacularly at night.
There's nothing like this in New York City.
There are many other scenic gems just a car ride away, like the suburb of Yanqing, a stunning area nestled in Beijing's northwest mountains, where visitors can try the fresh cuisine or peruse the street markets. It's a town so charming that 5 venues for the 2022 Winter Olympics will be constructed there.
This place is about 2 hours away from the central part of Beijing, and people now use this place as a getaway, kind of like a resort for people who live in the city.
There are many villages surrounding Yanqing where visitors can enjoy a natural environment with lush scenery, fresh air, local foods grown on site, and simple lodging.
Here you relax and enjoy the farmland, enjoy the farm life.
Whether you're taking a drive to sites like Watertown and the Great Wall, or exploring city must-sees like the Forbidden City and the Temple of Heaven, there's something for everyone to enjoy.
There's such a diversity of activities and culture here.
And by experiencing Beijing as the locals do, you'll find that today's Beijing is an ever-evolving place, where Eastern and Western influences intermingle everywhere you go, where modern skyscrapers pave way for a new pace of life, and where the dining and nightlife attract international attention.
If you're looking for an experience that's very different, that's in a very positive way, I think this is the place to be.
So come to Beijing and immerse yourself in the culture and festivals. Transport yourself back thousands of years in the city's museums and temples. Enjoy the healthy side of Beijing with traditional Chinese medicine, and experience the sights, the sounds, and the magic of this city for yourself.